I am coming to you on a Saturday with this video about doing thought downloads. So this is a basic tool that I use in my coaching for myself and for my clients. And I recommend it to each of my clients that they do a thought download every day or as often as they can. So when I first learned about this concept, I did not do it every day. But the more I got into this work and realizing the power of getting my thoughts out onto the paper, it became more and more useful. And now I have a habit of doing it every day. I'm going to talk to you about why we do thought downloads, and then a bunch of ideas on how to do thought downloads, and then what to do with your thought downloads after you're done. So basically, the short answer is there's no right or wrong way. Do it however you want to do them. The idea is just to get your thoughts onto the paper. Firstly, it's kind of cathartic to get them out. And secondly, to allow you kind of space and time to get your thoughts, get some distance from your thoughts and view them more objectively. Your brain is really meant for thinking. It's meant for creating new ideas. It's meant for making decisions, and it's not really meant as a storage tool. Of course, our brains do store memories, short-term, long-term, but some people can recognize that when they're trying to hold a lot of stuff in their mind, that they start to feel a little anxious or tight or whatever. So getting these thoughts out onto paper also just sort of relieves your brain of some tension. I think I covered all of the whys to get your brain out. No, don't get your brain out. To get your thoughts out of your brain, to get some distance from your thoughts so you can view them objectively. And I just think of it as kind of like level 1 is this cathartic release. Level 2 is to give yourself some insight, like, oh, that's interesting. I didn't know I was thinking that. And then level 3 is to be able to apply some concepts and some new thoughts to yourself that feel better than your current thoughts. Okay, so a common question I get is how? How do I do a thought download? Is it like journaling? And the short answer is yes and no. No, it's not the same as journaling, because journaling generally is like a log of what has happened. And yes, you do get some of your thoughts out. So you can absolutely journal. You're going to get some thoughts out. But today I hope to show you a more effective way to do what I call, thought downloading, which is not exactly the same as journaling. Journaling is really more sort of passive, I would say. Like, today this happened and so-and-so said this thing. So it's sort of more like what happened. And those are usually sort of the facts of our life, things that we can't control. And as a life coach, I talk a lot more about the things that we can control, which are our thoughts and our feelings. So thought downloading is more about those things. You might say something that happened, but then what are your thoughts about it, right? So let's get into some ideas of how you can sort of get away from the journaling aspect and move more into thought downloading. The first way is what is called morning pages. And I use this term because it was coined by the author Julia Cameron in her book, The Artist's Way, where the whole book is about becoming more creative and being able to tap into our own creative thoughts. So she recommends in that book, The Artist's Way, every morning to just dump your thoughts out onto paper without stopping the pen. Even if you have to write, I don't know what to write, blah, 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 1, 2, 3, 4, butterflies, diamonds, like just random thoughts coming out of your mind. She kind of offers this idea that if you do that for long enough, and she recommends 3 pages, then some thoughts will bubble to the surface and you'll start noticing some creative ideas. And the whole idea is to not judge any of what comes out. A lot of it's just going to be kind of fluff and just like surface level thoughts. And then every once in a while, something will come out. And as you read back over it, you'll be like, ooh, that's a good idea. So that's one way. Longhand, don't let the pen move type of, and this is really more in line with the journaling, right? It's just like whatever comes to your mind, sort of, what do they call it? Stream of consciousness thinking. And so I'm going to insert here a time-lapse video of me doing that very thing. I just put morning pages at the top of my page, and then I started with today is Saturday, and I just let my brain go from there. And it's 3 pages. It took me about 15 minutes, so it's not quick, right? We kind of think like, oh, just keep the pen moving. Okay, so we've covered just like passive journaling, and we've covered morning pages. The other really effective way to get your thoughts out is to start with a topic. You could put the name of the kid at the top of the page, and then just let some thoughts go. Like, I'm going to do my oldest daughter. So she's 16 years old. She has her license, right? I might, like, if I was to verbally download to you, and I'm just like, oldest daughter. Okay, so her name is Nina. She's 16 years old. She just got her license. She's really bored during this quarantine. She is currently at her best friend's house, helping them plant their garden. She doesn't want to do her chores, right? Like all these things. It could even be like kid's name at the top of your page, and then also something they did, right? Chores, kid's name and chores. And then you just like write down everything you think of that, right? And there's no, like I said at the beginning, there's no right or wrong way. You can do it paragraph form, or you could do like bullets where you're just kind of getting little phrases out of your mind, right? So that's another way that you could thought download. I do a lot of work with my clients on how they spend their time. So another great thing, if you don't have something that's really bothering you, normally if you're like feeling frustrated or angry or sad or especially excited about something, those are all great things to download about. Like, why am I feeling this way? So you could download about feelings. I'm feeling sad. Why? And then just start answering that question and let your brain go with whatever it's going to do, and let it just, and write until you don't have anything else to say, right? That's kind of sort of how I do it by default. But what I was about to say is, you could, if you don't have an emotion to download on, you could do, you could put today at the top of the page with the date. So today is May 2nd, 2020. And then you can just start thinking about what's on your schedule for today. So today's Saturday, so I don't have a lot of like set in stone things, but I could, if I had done this first thing in the morning, it's 3:03 p.m. right now, I could have just done some like a to-do list kind of thing, like my morning routine, and then what are my thoughts about my morning routine? I'm always so slow on Saturday. Right? Or something like, I like taking my time on Saturday. And then I wanted to do some laundry, right? And I could tell my thoughts about laundry, like, I have so much laundry. I wish I didn't have to do the laundry, or whatever your thoughts are about laundry. I had this video to shoot. And honestly, my thoughts are like, this is so complicated. I need to figure out how to set up my phone taking the video from the top down of my page at the same time as I'm recording here with you. It's going to take a long time, right? Things like that. If like this is a work day for you, and say you have a specific task that is like weighing on you, so it could be like work project, right? And I'm just using really general terms. I recommend getting as specific as possible, and then write out all your thoughts about that project. If it's something you've been procrastinating, if you've been dreading it, then all your thoughts are going to show you exactly why that is. If there's something you're really excited about, your thoughts are going to show you exactly why you're excited about that project, right? So really the point here is for us to figure out why our brains are functioning the way they're functioning. So if you feel an emotion, it's because of a thought you're having, and we want to know why. So the first thing is, if you're feeling a negative emotion, the thoughts that you're having are why you're having that negative emotion. So if you want to kind of cure or solve that negative emotion, it's all in your thoughts. And if you're having a positive emotion, if you're feeling really committed or motivated or something like that, then we also want to know why, so that you can replicate it, right? So do thought downloads on positive and negative emotions. Another way to thought download is to ask yourself specific questions. I like doing this with when I have a goal in mind. So you could put at the top of the page your goal. So it could be like a certain amount of money you're trying to save up, or a certain number of pounds you're trying to lose, or your goal could be, connecting with your kids more, or with your husband more, or something like that, right? It doesn't have to be like a hard and fast fact goal. But if you think about your goal and just write down everything you're thinking. So for example, in my business, my goal is to make $50,000 in 2020. And I might thought download like, that's going to be really hard. How am I going to do that? Right? Like you might have questions, you might have statements. You might be like, I feel excited about the thought of it, right? So just let your mind go to wherever it's going to go, and don't filter anything, don't judge anything, just let all the thoughts out, right? So what I do with my goal is I think about the goal, I think about the possibility of the goal. So I might say, I would like to have one consultation call this week, and I just sit. Before I write anything, I just sit and I think about that, and until I like feel a feeling in my body. And then I write, what would my thoughts be if I already reached that goal? So that's a great question. What would my thoughts be if I reached the goal? And the reason that's so helpful is because whatever you're thinking once you reach the goal, those are the thoughts you need to practice now. Those are the thoughts that are going to give you emotions that will fuel your actions, that will get you to the goal. And then I think about what are the reasons why I wouldn't reach that goal? These are the objections. Excuse me. And whatever they are, I just write them all down, and I try to write as many as possible. And then I'm like, okay, these are the obstacle thoughts for me to get to my goal. And like I said, it could be any kind of goal. It could be like, I want to connect more with my husband. Why aren't you connecting with your husband? What gets in the way of connecting with your husband? So really thinking about the answers to those questions are everything. They're all your thoughts that are getting in the way right now. Asking yourself why. So as you're thought downloading and you come across a thought that you think is interesting, or you didn't realize you were thinking it, ask yourself why, and then write the answer to that question, and just keep asking yourself why. It is so insightful. That's a really easy question. So you could kind of use that in conjunction with a topic or what's going on for you that day. You write some thoughts down, and then you're like, why do you think that? Right? So this is sort of like coaching yourself. And you can do that as you're thought downloading to kind of get into deeper layers of your thoughts. I mean, not that there really are layers, but just to like go a little deeper with yourself. All right, so we've talked about morning pages, which is stream of consciousness, 3 pages without stopping the pen, just general journaling, which is more like what has happened. Try to insert some of your thoughts about what has happened to get some more insight. You can thought download by topic. You can thought download by what you have on your to-do list or your schedule for the day. You can use bullet points. You don't have to do full sentences. You can just do phrases. You can ask yourself specific questions and asking yourself why, and keep on asking why. Those are all great ways to do some thought downloading. Okay, so the other question I get is, what do you do with your thought download once you're done? And the answer is whatever you want, right? I like to keep my journals. I find it useful. I don't actually often go back and look at them, but I have these bound journals. I got this one from Costco, and it's very nice. But I just think that if I'm going to be writing a ton, why not save that for my posterity? I don't think that like I have to make everything obvious for them of what I'm thinking. I really just use it as like a notepad, a scratch paper sometimes. If you're one of my clients, you know the model, and so I will download and then I'll run some models on myself. Like really, it's just everything. But like some people don't feel comfortable keeping it. They want it to be a very private space. And I understand that as well. So some people do throw their journals away as soon as they're done with them. You see here on this one, it's just a regular notepad, like a 50-cent notepad you would buy for like school papers, right? Because I like to keep mine, I like bound notebooks. I also get the question a lot of paper versus digital. And here's my thoughts. I think there's a lot of value in longhand writing. There's something about the eye-hand movement connection, like your brain, your eye, your hand, that helps us remember. And it just sort of, it's more cathartic that way. I don't know, like if you've ever typed notes, I find it hard to remember notes that I've typed up. So that's why I'm really into longhand thought downloading or journaling. That being said, there are ways to do that digitally. So I literally just yesterday got an iPad, and I did that for business reasons, but I'm going to be doing some digital downloading with my Apple Pencil, like longhand. I probably won't do very much like typed up downloading. I just think it's so valuable to do it longhand. So if I do also think that it's better to do it typed up than to not do it at all. So if longhand is not working for you, or for whatever reason, you don't like it, it's better to type than to not do anything at all. But I do encourage you to do some longhand thought downloading. Let me know if you have any questions, if there's anything that I forgot about here, any insights you have. I would love to hear them. Otherwise, have a great time doing your thought downloads, and I look forward to seeing you.